Evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of NRL Supercoach Off the Bench, round 18 wrap. You're stuck with me as host tonight with Brad not available. So apologies. I'll do my best. With me tonight is one of our regulars, Timmy. Welcome, Tim. How are
Evening,
you?
Roscoe. Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not a bad week. 13:29. One of those weeks it could have been. I used my last boost. Went against my better judgment, and just before kickoff on the Friday game, whatever it was, I traded in Wishart to Nico Hines, and not only did it cost me points, it's cost me cash, it's cost me everything. So yeah, unfortunately, bit of a kick in the balls. And next week, I think Wishart will probably be worth more than what Hines is. So that just
Yeah.
kicks you in the arse even more. Good
Yep.
times though. That's why we love this game.
That's exactly right, mate. Wait until I tell you about what I did, but that's fine. With us tonight is a special guest. We've had him on before. We love having him on. It's Dan from NRL Supercoach Tragics. Welcome, Dan. How are you?
Yeah, good mate, not too bad. Probably don't want any of my expertise this week after my scores, but 12-24. I was going to captain Teddy, but a head-to-head move decided I had to. If I were going to win, I couldn't win if I had the Teddy's captain, so I had to take a risk and go with Mars, which could have been a lot worse than Mars, that's for sure. But I would have been around 1,300 if I had Teddy as my captain. But like I said, not really focusing on overall, all that my head-to-head pride.
Yeah.
You're still doing all right overall, though, aren't you?
I am not.
You got off to a flyer, but then gone backwards.
Yeah, they call me the one-round wonder. I tend to get off to a good start, and then it's very rare. Like I said, the year that I did really well, 2020, when I got 15th overall, I started off the season round one. I was ranked 498th. That was my first round rank, and I did not go above that rank all year. So that's the only exception to the rule that I'm a one-round wonder. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, I got a 12.29. This is the third week in a row out of four that I've actually bought in a player and captained them off the bat. I bought in Nico. I traded out Josh Curran, who got like 90 points. Bought in Nico, decided to go for the pod play to captain him because I knew that if he went, he would have to go probably 150 plus for me to loot because I had Levi Hopewadi on the bench who I think got 8 points. So again, I probably should have done the safety play, but it's a bit of a mixture for me at the moment because I was doing okay overall and head-to-head, but probably not now after today. But it's the way it goes. That's Supercoach for you. Sometimes you just got to go outside the square and do something different. When you're back in 6,000, you're not going to finish in top 1,000 if you don't make a crazy move, as far as I'm concerned. So shout out to a couple of the other guys who went on today. I think Brad got close to a 1,400. We had Sammy Hazlett with a 1390 odd as well, and Dave London with a 1424. So I kind of feel like I've let the team down this week, but that's okay. It's all good. I think I worked out I would have got about 1420 as well if I had a captain Teddy. But anyway, that's the game for you. That's why we play. All right, just quickly before we start going through the games. So early mail for Origin 3s that for New South Wales, the changes with them will be Bradman Best in for Latrell. And apparently Barnett is looking like getting the bench spot over Olakau'atu, which is great for those who own and those who want to buy because he's quite cheap. For Queensland, it's looking like Ponga and Fafita on the bench to replace Kafusi and Capewell. Gagai in for Talangi and Cobbo in for Coates with Val moving to the wing. Boys, it's pretty stock standard, I think, as well, boys. Timmy, I know you're the Queenslander, but I think Latrell's a massive loss for New South Wales.
Yeah, look, I hadn't heard that Olakau'atu one. That's a really interesting one. Mitch Barnett's been on fire, and I can't understand why he wasn't there for the two previous games. He looked sensational this season, coming out of his skin with that change over to the Warriors from Newcastle. So yeah, look, mate, I'm really surprised at those team lists. I'm probably pleasantly surprised, I would think. No Latrell, obviously that's one less attacking weapon that you guys have got. Bradman Best still goes all right, don't get me wrong. But yeah, the Olakau'atu out. I'm looking forward to because Manly actually play round 19, don't they? So
they're going to be playing against a very much depleted Newcastle team at Four Pines on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, so I
So
think that actually
yeah,
that works in my favour. It sends me from 12 to 13 for the round. If all goes to plan and everybody else is named, I can probably hold trades for a week.
yeah. What's your thoughts with Ponga being picked on the bench as well? Obviously, want to have that cover in case the back does go down again, like game one. Are you surprised that Ponga's going to get a bench spot or not?
No, not really. He played in that like lock roll off the bench. Oh, I don't know when it was, 3 or 4 years ago or something or other, and absolutely killed it. So I'm not surprised at it. Obviously, that was probably a big push with why he had to play today, and all the talk all weekend and all of last week, whether he was, he wasn't, he was, he wasn't, and the club came out and said, no, he's absolutely playing. He must play this week. So whether or not there was a bit of a tap on the shoulder there that said, hey mate, we could probably use your attack in Origin. So if you want that spot, you've got to play this week. So
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's how it went, and by all accounts, he looked all right.
yeah. Dan Barnett, what's your thoughts on him? I mean, I still think if Gerbo, I should say, not Burbo, wasn't the captain, I would actually have him starting in the front row with Payne Haas. I think it's a great pick, and I think we just need that mongrel off the bench as well as what we've got with Spencer Lino.
I think Barnett, he's got that motor as well. So having someone like Barnett with that motor that big really complementing players like Murray and Yo in the team as well. So if they do get struck down by an injury or an early send off, you've got those guys that can hang. Queensland have got Cotter who can play an 80-minute game very, very comfortably. So it's good to have that player with an extra motor. Barnett should have been there from day one. And he's just proven that the last few weeks with his scores. I think he's first ton this week, but I think every other score's been 84, 90 around there. So he's been killing it.
Yeah. All right, let's rip into the first game. It was Thursday night. It was Parramatta 16, beaten by the South Sydney Rabbitohs 32. For South, Latrell Mitchell with 113, Jacob Gagai 106, Jack Whiten with an 88, Colin Matangi, who's been very popular last few weeks, with an 80, and Cody Walker with a 72. For Parramatta, Regan Campbell-Gillard was top scorer with 82. Obviously got the extra minutes with Paulo going down. Gutho with an 80. Blaze Talangi just doing a job again with a 73, but he's probably a sell now. Matto's another interesting one with a 64, and Dylan Brown with a 53. Dan, who do you own out of this game, and who would you like to own if there's anyone from South that you're looking to bring in potentially?
Yeah, look, Matangi. Oh, sorry, was that to Dan or me?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
So I didn't play Gagai this week, which is disappointing. I think that would have been a much nicer play this week instead of having Burbo who got knocked out. I had Brown and I got Moses, unfortunately, who happened to do that little hissy fit at the end of the game to challenge. He got told he didn't have a challenge, and then he said, "But I still want a challenge," even though he just got told he didn't want a challenge. But it wouldn't be a Parramatta game without whinging at the referee. The players that I do want, I'm actually looking at potentially getting next week, is Cody Walker. I think he'll partner really nicely in your Supercoach team with Dylan Brown, both duels now. So I think I like Cody Walker. One thing about this as well, I'll be targeting a lot of the South players because there's no more buys left for South Sydney. So I think you got some great options here with Kalama Matangi, Cody Walker. You've got Damien Cook, probably his worst game in the last couple of weeks now. Before that, averaging 89 the last 3-4 rounds. So I think Cookie might be back to his original best.
Yeah. Timmy?
Yeah, I'm really keen on Kalama Matangi. I know most of the boys from off the bench jumped on about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I zigged when you guys zagged. So, yeah, look, in regards to the Cody Walker one, Dan, the only thing in hindsight now with Latrell injured, he hasn't scored as well with Latrell being out this season, as much time as he's had out. So I'm hoping, like I'm a Cody Walker owner. As soon as Latrell was getting close to being back fit and firing, I brought Cody straight back in. But yeah, I don't know, mate. I've been quite disappointed with his point scoring overall. In hindsight, with the Wishart, it's great to say he did well this week, but he's been consistently scoring better than Cody has anyway. So had I known, not that you're ever going to know that someone's going to get injured, but with Latrell being injured, I'd much rather prefer to have Wishart in my team rather than I would have Cody Walker in my team.
Yeah, well, I don't 100% agree with that. I think Latrell coming back and helping those scores, or is it the move to halfback? with having White in there in the halves.
Yeah,
That's what I was placing it off.
yeah.
And I think with Latrell there, he has the potential to steal more try assists away from Cody Walker. So that's the reason why I was thinking. I know it's the timing ended up being very similar with Latrell coming back, as it did with White and jumping into 5'8". So that could be another thing there, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, and it's definitely
yeah.
that left hand. It has affected that left hand side. I bought AJ, as in Alex Johnson,
Ooh.
about a month ago as a bit of a pod play. He was nice and cheap, and I thought, well, once they're back and firing, surely that things will go back to normal and they'll start using that left hand side. Like the guy didn't catch a cold the other night, so he touched the ball about half a dozen times, and that was pretty much it. They just don't go left. When they do, it goes to Jack Whiten, and he sort of stops it and brings it back in. Or it goes to the other the dual guy that comes in every now and then, gets to him in the second row and just cuts back in as well. So yeah, poor old Alex Johnson can't catch a break out there.
Yeah. Obviously the Trells are selling now. For those who have him, he's gone minimum of 4 weeks. I'd be all over Cody Walker just on him if he was playing the left side. I think that's just a lethal combo, but I just can't go there. I'm pretty happy with my house at the moment. Like I've got Hines, I've got Sammy Walker. Obviously, want to get Cleary back in. I've also got Galvin, who's just doing a job, and there's no reason to sell him. And I've also got Dylan Brown. So just a couple other ones I wanted to mention just quickly, boys. Ryan Madison's nice and cheap, definitely one to keep an eye on. And Cam Murray too, dropping nicely in price. If he gets 80 minutes, if you can hold that 80 minutes on an edge after Origin, then he might be another one worth looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with both of those.
And Gooma, his name is for Parramatta. Another one, interesting one to keep an eye on for a downgrade option with Paulo gone for the season. So if he can get some decent minutes, he might be worth keeping an eye on too, maybe.
It'd be handy if he had the front row dual, because he'd seem to be playing through the front row. But unfortunately, he's only second row. Would have been a nice, easy trade down from Sam Hughes or something like that to someone like him, and bank some cash and hopefully get someone who's going to play half a game.
Yeah. All right. Next game is the Sharks 16, the Titans 20. Who wants to go through this game quickly? Anyone?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Look, as far as the Supercoach scores go, Britton Nakora top score with a 92, which is great because I bought him in about a month ago. Sifa Talakai, he's been an interesting one. He's one that I've been keeping an eye on for a while. He's scoring really well when he gets the minutes. The problem is he had a brain snap the other night, spent some time in the bin. He's hasn't necessarily been playing 80 minutes week in, week out, and you just don't know what role he's going to have too with Teague Wilton coming back into the side. So that's the only thing that's held me off Raymond. Would have been a really handy duel if he was going to get the 80 minutes with obviously second row forward centre wing. Jesse Ramian had a 73. Braden Trindle, good old glue hands Trindle with a 70.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch. Like I said, I brought in Nico for Wishart. The fact that Wishart outscored him by another 60-odd points would have made my total a little bit more respectable.
It's not even that. It's the fact that Mulatalo's not getting any ball out there either.
And again, it's
just
another
out there
one
catching a cold.
When everyone was bringing in Mulatalo last week, I've had him pretty much since the start of the season, and I've just made myself hold him. But I didn't play him on the weekend. Actually, no, sorry, I did play him. I didn't play Iro. And I think I'm just going to play Iro for the rest of the year. He's going to at least get you 50 to 60 every week, whereas Ronnie can hit you 20 and low 20s, and it's sort of 120 or 20, and you'd like to think it balances out, but sadly at the moment he just seems to be pumping out more 20s than he is the 120s. So another one where he just can't get the ball left, and it's going to catch a cold out there. Look, Atkinson came in late, just made a 45, which is not too bad for the amount of ball that he got. As opposed for the Titans, Kieran Foran turning back the clock again with a 76. Chris Randall, someone in our group
Brad traded him in for JMK.
Yeah. He did
not
really
a bad
well
play.
There.
Yeah.
Great pod play with a
Mind you though, you take out the try and the try and the line break. And what's that? That's only about 40 points or something, 40 odd points. So it's okay, but yeah, I don't mind it.
Keeney, just for those who've held on that little bit longer with a 66, we've all questioned. It's one of those players. It's a bit like like Jaden Campbell, one of those players that we'd all like to have, but there just seems to be too many moving parts there, and everyone's too scared to have a crack at which one. Sammy Verrills with a 61, Palacia with a 58, Dave Fafita a little bit underwhelming with a 52 when the pressure was on. Maybe he'd already had the phone call that had told him, mate, just look after yourself, go things a bit easy this week, and you've got to play on Wednesday. So,
but did you see the game? Did you see the game, Buck? Because he wasn't getting any ball off Boyd. He wasn't passing exactly to him at all.
Yeah, but he also didn't seem to be looking for it quite as much as he
usually does.
Yeah. So outside of that, I know a lot of people were interested in Kelly and Firma.
I've got Kelly.
Yeah, so that's a little bit underwhelming for owners with a 46. I'm sure you would have played him if you had him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no base. Like 46 in base, that's not too bad. Like, absolutely. Really. But, yeah, I brought him in because he had the goal kicking and he hasn't kicked the last 3 weeks, which is disappointing. Yeah, but anyway.
The only other one from the Sharks is Blake Brayley. Try and say that 10 times fast. Blake Brayley with a 44. A lot of people brought him in as a alternative or a cheaper option after JMK went down, and it obviously just quite hasn't played off.
Yeah, I brought him in last week for Harry Grant as a bit of a panic trade. He got me a 62 last week. I guess it kind of worked out for me because Harry Grant didn't play this week and he also doesn't play next week. So probably not the be-all, end-all for me, but there's not really much to like at hooker. I'm going to be honest with you. Cook's been going okay, but there's not really much there, really.
And that's why I've held JMK as well. I think it's until there's someone that's out and out ready for me to grab, which is probably Harry when he comes back, but he's got to be fit. If he's not fit, then it's probably not worth it at the moment. I'm just holding JMK. It's a lot of cash to hold there, don't get me wrong, but I just don't really know which way to go, whether to nuff him out. I was pretty keen on going a dual second row nuff and bringing Connor Watson in to float between the 2 spots and hope that would get me through to the end. But then at the same time, it was still 2 trades. So whereas if Reece Robson goes down, then it's only 1 trade to another hooker. So when trades are sort of a little bit tight at the moment, I think I'm just going to hold the one and see how things go from there.
Dan, do you own Nico?
Nico Hines, yeah. I just never worried about his price drops because I didn't intend on selling him. And I think people are selling him. He's going downhill, which is kind of crap, but I just know that he'll come back, and the day that I sell him is the week that he's going to go 120 plus, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather just I got my backup hooker in Moses, who's probably going to leave my team next week because he's going to miss a few games. But I'm looking at probably going Nico Cleary for the run home. That's my goal. So
I think given that he's going to be under 700K this week with a pretty high break even again, I don't think it makes any difference. They're playing the Tigers. They're playing at points, but it's only going to be a matter of time until they start clicking again. They're too good of a team to not, and I hope they bloody do because I own like 5 Sharks in my team. But I think it would be very hard to pass him up this week if you didn't own him, especially with the fact that Melbourne don't play next week either. So if you do have Wishart like Tim, you probably should have held another week, but sorry, Tim, I had to. You're probably trading him this week, right, to Nico, unless you've got some other way of getting there.
Yeah, well, that was it, mate. That was what my plan was. Hold on for 1 more week, and then it was going to be a straight swap. So, that's the way it goes sometimes. You've got to risk it for the biscuit, and I did that, and it didn't work.
I'm not going to blame your son for this trade.
No, it was totally my own fault. Totally my own fault.
Timmy, well.
Sorry, Timmy, I love you.
Sorry, I'll cop that. I deserve it.
Sorry to do this to you, Timmy, but we're just going to go double whammy here because you can go through the Broncos versus Panthers game now too.
Yeah, look, as ugly as this was, look, I actually tipped the Panthers. I was at the game, and as soon as it started raining, I flicked from the Bronx to the Panthers. We just do not play wet weather footy.
Sorry to interrupt you, but mate, there's a consensus that Panthers can't play wet weather football as well, just quietly, just so you know.
Oh, yeah. you go to enough of our home games, once it starts raining, it's people just walk out the door.
But isn't like haven't Panthers won their last 8 games or something against Broncos at Suncorp or something? I thought I read.
Something
ridiculous like that.
I know we can't beat the Storm at Suncorp. We have enough fun.
I'm pretty sure Panthers was there somewhere too.
Well, we haven't beaten the Titans at Suncorp in the last 4 years, 5 years, or whatever the hell it is. So, yeah, we love Sunday games against the Titans. Yeah, look, as far as Supercoach point scoring goes, look, Reece Walsh with an 82, Ezra Mam with a 76. Sneaky little pod play there. He certainly gets the ball, and I love him in attack. It wouldn't have surprised me if he got a call up for Queensland. I think that Tommy Dearden just doesn't offer the same. I don't know. I don't want to ear bash Tommy, but I see Ezra Mam having a lot more attacking threat than what Tommy Dearden does. That's only my own personal opinion. I know that's going to be fairly divided, and a lot of people won't agree with me. But look, I really like Ezra Mam for his attack. He just needs that general beside him, and I think with him and DCE would have been a great pair together in the halves. So I can't see it happening, but I think it's probably the way of the future. Mind you, DCE, how many more seasons has he got at Origin level? That's up to him, I guess. Payne Haas with a 69, which is probably a good score for people that are trying to get to Payne Haas over the next few weeks. Paddy Carrigan with a 55, another one that people would like to jump on, and are quite happy for Paddy to have a down game. Corey Jensen did all right with a 54. Cobbo with a 50. Smoothie, the player that a lot of Broncos fans want to get out of the squad, pretty underwhelming. As for the Panthers, look, Brian Toto with 70, with an 86. Mitch Kenny went all right with a 75. Did get a try though, but I mean it's just one of those hooker plays. When you're 10 out, and you want to have a run, then why not? Fisher Harris with a 64. I've had Fisher Harris in our draft team for a while, and I've been pretty happy with him. He just keeps turning it over. Nothing huge, but he's not knocking out like 40s. He's just consistently anywhere between sort of 55 and 75, and I've been pretty happy with that. So Dylan Edwards with a 63, Jerome Luai 61, Scotty Sorensen, one that I traded out a couple of weeks ago with a 59. In hindsight, I probably could have held him. I actually sold him last week and then sold KPP this week. I probably should have gone the other way around, but I think it was buys that got me at the time. Outside of that, Isaiah Yeo, another one, 56. Some people will certainly be keeping an eye on him after Origin. He'll go back up to big minutes and big motor points like only Isaiah Yeo can do.
Yeah. Dan, you're the Panthers man. Anyone you like here, obviously, other than Cleary in a couple of weeks, obviously Haas. I think we've all got our eye on. Could be a nice trade to go to Tyrrell May or whatever his name is to him after round 20.
Well, I like the Tyrrell May, the Haas trade. I've already got Haas, so
Yeah.
I got him a while ago. Just thinking I'd like to have that, just get that position done and sorted. There's no need to trade him out unless he's injured. So, but the player that as soon as he gets named after Origin, that I'll be bringing into my team and holding for the rest of the season is Brian Toto. He is just being consistent as hell. And if you want to have a look at centre wing positions this year, you try and find a gun that you want to keep for the run home. There's very far and few between that are actually getting those consistent scores. So like people talk about Mulatalo, who normally can be a gun, but he's now getting average scores. You got other players that aren't consistently scoring big scores. I guess you could say Lomax, yeah, definitely one of those guys you could keep an eye on. But Toto is always going to score you at least 50 points every single week. And then if he gets a try or two, he's over 100. So he's the guy that I'll be looking out for, and obviously Cleary.
Yeah, he unfortunately just went up 100K as well this week.
Yeah.
I actually was trading him in last week, Dan. The trade was done and dusted, and then when it was ruled delayed out, I reversed the trade because I needed the numbers. And I was going to get him this week, but I was a bit short on cash. Instead of making 2 trades this week, I only made 1, so I didn't have to. So I could save a couple of trades for later on down the track. But yeah, look, he had a break even of -30, and now he's up to just under 900K.
I always bank my money pretty comfortably. So like my team value, if you look at it right now, is very low. That's like about 400K in the bank. I deliberately do that. I get the players. Well, I try to nuff out during the buy period that potentially play those buy games an extra number, but also nuff out after they're done. Like prime example is Porter. And then that way I got one more nuff I want to do. I can get rid of Sam Hughes, bring him to a nuff, and then I can turn. I'm trying to think if it was in my team. I could turn one of my centre wings, probably got someone like Strange potentially, I could just go upgrade to Tyro for the run home. So
good trade.
Yeah. This game was an absolute belter of a game. It was the only game I actually saw yesterday, which was the Bulldogs and the Warriors. I'll just quickly go through this game, Dan, and then you can go through a couple of the other ones. So Barnett with 138 far out. If Brad was on this show, he'd know how many times I've mentioned his name in the last few weeks. Couldn't pull the trigger when he was named as 18th man for New South Wales. RTS with a 72, AFB with a 69 for those who held. Not sure why so many people panic traded him out. DWZ with a 67, Ford with a 62, and then on the other side, Max King. Another one I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and Brad mentioned in his article, who has got a massive PPM. He put out a 95, Curran 87, Matt Burton with a 71, Kickout with a 66, and Carraz with a 63. And Sam Hughes with a massive 28 with bugger all minutes again. Far out boys, Barnett. Jesus Christ. I mean, the bloke is just absolutely killing it. We just spoke about him during the Origin team chat, and he's just absolutely blitzing it at the moment. He had a break even of 40, pumps out 140 Nelly. So he's about to go up to just over 800K now.
Yeah, it would have been great if he got on when he was at his low. But yeah, just the hardest part was we all knew he was going to be in and around Origin. So if you picked him up at the very start of at round 13, there was always the possibility he's going to miss 4 of the next 6 rounds or whatever the hell it was going to be. So it's great if you went for him, and he hasn't picked up a spot there yet. But yeah, it's the one that got away, I guess. What's actually really interesting, I've held Liam Henry right through Origin, and with the idea if he just get the extra minutes that all the Origin forwards from the Panthers would be missing out on. He's actually almost going to be a straight swap next week for AFB, give or take about 30K. So I think Henry missed his BE this week by about 10 points or something like that. So he was just under 550. So he'll go back to 540 or something like that. AFB missed his by 50 odd. So he was just over 600K, and he'll obviously go back somewhere a bit closer to 550. So there really is only going to be about 30K difference between Liam Henry and AFB, which is going to be a really handy trade.
And Max King might be another one to look at, Tim. I know you had him before, but he's definitely another option.
Yeah, I started with him and just was one that I knew would go really well at some point throughout the season. And unfortunately, I dropped off. I think I dropped off about round 13.
Yeah, Tim, you're gonna Dan, you're gonna say something about Barnett. Tim?
Yeah, I think there's like there's like that common play that you get that when you get nervous owning him because if there's an injury in the back line, they shift out to the centre. It's like the similar but the opposite effect with Barnett. If there's an injury somewhere, he will just go from edge to middle to outer edge he'll move back and forth. He moves around that middle all the time. So it's like he's always going to get extra workload. So he could start on the edge and then go in the front row. Then he could play lock if he wanted to and just get more tackles and more base. So you're going to get a minimum floor with him. Like it's going to be a pretty high floor with him every single week, unless there's an injury. And especially with Tofu out last week as well. That probably played a big part in what he got as well. But he's on fire. He's definitely one of those ones that got away. So upset at that.
So he had a try assist. Which is 12 points. He had 20 points in offloads. He had 36 points in hit-ups and something like 51 tackles. Like, that's just – I don't know. I have to check the minutes that he played, but that's just unbelievable. Like, really, far out.
When you have a player like that is just putting the effort in. Like, he wants to win so hard. He's a competitive guy, so he's putting constant effort in. He's always going to be around the ball, and it works hand in hand with extra base because he's going to tackle more. He's going to be in every tackle. He's going to do every hit up, and he wants to win so much. He's going to be potentially offloading and trying to get those line break assists for try assists as well. Yeah. So it works hand in hand with that effort that he puts in.
Yeah.
Well, is there any interest in Jackson Ford? Yep. Now that he's got the dual second row, front row, he got a 62 this week. He missed his BE by a bit, so he's going to drop a little bit of cash. But he'll be back somewhere around about I think he's 476 now. He'll drop down to just below 470, 460 on. With the dual position, again, it's another pretty handy trade. You could sell somebody like a Liam Henry, bank 100K, go to Jackson Ford and have dual flexibility between him and, say, a Samuel Afenu that you could have as a third front row or as a fifth, sixth, second row forward between the two of them, and be able to flick them back and forwards when you need to.
Yeah. I've got Carraz. I don't know if you guys have got Carraz, but he's been a bit underwhelming. I mean, I guess 63 isn't bad in a team that, he scored 13 points, but I'm actually potentially looking to move him on to Brian To'o because I don't want to. I need someone who's got, that's not going to cost me like 300K to upgrade to. So I think that'll probably be one of my trades after Origin. Who else was there from this game I wanted to talk about? T. Murray Martin, obviously. So I was just going to say, T. Murray Martin looks like he's a sell now too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got to drop him out of our draft team, unfortunately. Quick question, Roscoe. I know you sold Curran this week. What was your logic there? Has his minutes been down or what? I would have thought with the duel, he's actually a pretty handy guy to have there, especially that you wouldn't have been making a lot of money out of him because he's only at 470.
So
did you nuff him or what? Oh,
no. So I had Max Plath in my halves.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold Curran to move him because I didn't want to sell Plath. Like Plath for me is a hold through and through. Whereas with Curran, even with the dual position, the minutes were all over the place. It was either going to be him or Tyrrell May. And the way I looked at it was May was going to potentially get decent minutes around 20. Still has cash to make, whereas Curran is kind of a bit hit and miss. If you look at his scores, he hasn't been getting massive minutes and he hasn't been scoring great. I would have preferred to keep Max Plath or May for now, but that's just the only reason behind it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Right, our next game is the Tigers 28, Melbourne 40, high-scoring game. Dan, do you want to go through this game?
Yeah, sure, mate. So a little sneaky guy that I had in my draft, Buller, 100 points there from the Tigers, so good start. He looked pretty good the other night as well. It was good to watch. Api Coruscant, I think he turns up against those bigger, solid teams. He's the opposite of a matchup. If you find he plays against Penrith, he plays against Melbourne Storm, he got a nice little 90 there. The Ferrari, or the Datsun 120, actually turned into a Ferrari. So Staines at 85. Bole had 2 tries as well, I'm pretty sure. He did really well. He's in my draft team as well. Bole looking really good. Caesar with a 63. Caesar with a 63, and a lot of guys still have him, and I still have him as well. Lachlan Galvin looking really good there as well. Getting 63 points at 5'8" against the Storm is a pretty good feat. So a player that I brought in this week as well, Bateman, so a sneaky little pod there for the run home. And also Dewey, someone to keep an eye on as well. I think he got 57 points as well. Looking pretty good. I think he's taking it a bit easy, but he's going to look pretty good soon. Over at the Storm, we've got Tony Wishart, 108 there. Hughes, another big, he looks so good in that first half, 101 points in total in the end. Eli Katol, 86. Josh King, 75 points there. Anderson moving to 5'8" midway through the game, so maybe that's where all Hughes' points went to Anderson, 74 points. And Puppy back again, which is great, 71 points there. And for Alago, the guy that I sold this week because he was on the bench, I sold him and he got 59 points. So in saying that,
with 2 tries, right? With 2 tries as well, yeah.
2 tries, yeah.
What minutes did he play?
I think he ended up playing about, I think it was about 60 minutes because there was an early injury to, I can't remember who it was, early injury in the Melbourne game to, who was it? I think it was Garlic. Yeah, Garlic came off pretty early. Okay. So that moved Wishart into the hooking role.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, so maybe that's definitely a good thing for Wishart being in a hooking position. Maybe.
Geez, that's a solid score considering he played in the hooker.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, definitely. I think he really. I'm not sure it was like a protest. He wanted to get more involved, and rather than just being the normal standard pass hooker, you might want to get more involved and play pretty well. So.
I'll tell you what, though, Dan, I didn't see a lot of this game, as I said, but Hughes with 101, was that right? He was on like 90 at half time or something?
Yeah, pretty close to 90 at half time. I didn't have him on my team, but I had a few guys, friends of mine who captained him. Broad captained him.
That would have been cheering at half time.
He was cheering at the time. He still wouldn't be too unhappy with 101 as a total,
of
but he'd be a
course.
lot less happy. Then yeah. But definitely I went Moses instead of Hughes, and that's you know what? Until this week, I haven't been regretting it.
Yeah.
Moses has been scoring pretty well until this week. So, anyone here, Timmy, that you like, mate, or be thinking about bringing in?
Yeah, look, while we were just talking about Max Hughes, I just had a look at at Max King. Now looking at Josh King. I checked this out last week, and I think I mentioned him on our Tuesday pod from memory. Look, his last three scores, so he got a 75 or whatever it was this week. He got a 77 last week and an 81 the week before. Again, another dual position 2RF front row forward. He's under 500K, but he had a low BE this week, so he's probably going to go up about 70 or 80K, somewhere in that vicinity. So he's still going to be roughly 550, 560, something like that. For a dual position player who is definitely on the rise. I know that Nelson went out early this week, or
Nats went out pretty early.
Yeah, excuse me. So he's certainly one to keep an eye on. He seems to be the next guy up that gets bigger minutes. I think Christian Welsh's days of big minutes are probably not there anymore. And maybe Josh King's the next cab off the rank. When someone goes down, he picks up the slack. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on for another sort of 550 odd decent dual position player.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much those scores have been inflated though. I didn't remember. I haven't watched many of the games the last 2 weeks, but I remember when he scored. I'm pretty sure he scored a try this week. Pretty confident he scored a try. And I'm pretty sure when he scored that try, they said, "Oh, he's the try scoring machine." So I'm pretty sure he scored 3 tries in 3 weeks. So that's the only thing to be wary of, though. I could be wrong, so I might need to fact check that one.
No, it's just an interesting one. Just a bit of a left field option when we're looking for pods at this time of year, and I'm always looking for the dual position pods to try and pick up something different, fill a hole if I can, or basically use it as 2 trades essentially by being able to flick when someone goes down injured. If you've got the dual positions, you can flick them back and forwards. It basically saves you a trade.
Well, that's why I like the idea, because I've had Cotter and I have no need to sell Cotter. So I have in my front row. So having someone like that in my second row gives my team a bit more versatility.
Yeah, absolutely. I bought Samuel Afenu in about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I've been pretty happy. He obviously hasn't been setting the house on fire, but he's been scoring okay. He had a decent score a couple of weeks ago. But my plan would be to join him with Cotter or someone similar up in the front row and flick him back and forwards.
Yep. All right. Just as we keep going on, there's a bit of mail around at the moment that it's looking like Dave Fafita isn't going to be picked for Queensland, which is fantastic for Supercoach.
That's awesome.
And also Jaden Sewer looks like he's going to be dropped as well, with Reid Marnie coming in as well. So interesting. That's looking like
I got Reid Marnie in my team, and I'm not too upset because they've got a bye next week. So
yeah, it doesn't matter, right?
That's just crazy though. Like as a Queenslander, like we needed more punch in there, and I really thought Dave would fix that problem. So yeah, disappointing. He's obviously maybe he's got some photos of Billy's wife or something. probably photos of one of Billy's horses.
All the gazillion owners have just gone the fist pump after seeing that.
Yeah. Well, that gets me to 14 next week, maybe. So that's not a bad thing.
And the Blues official side has just come through as expected. The changes I did mention has happened. So yeah, best in for Latrell, and we've got Barnett in for Olakau'atu. So
sensation.
Great news for those who've got Olakau'atu, definitely. So some people will be very happy. Next game, Cowboys 20, Manly 21. I'll just quickly run through this one, even though I didn't see the game. Cotter with 103, Nanai 96, Belt 96, Drinkwater 81, Holmes 47, Saab 111, Buller 83, DC 82, Ruben Goke 73, all in base, bloody beautiful. And Olakau'atu, who we need to talk about now, obviously, with a 71. So let's talk about Olakau'atu, boys. Who's going to be trading him in this week now?
Oh, mate, it's a really easy trade for me to go Smithies to him.
I did last week.
Yeah, well, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? I mean...
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a kicker for a lot of people that would have held off over this 6-week period, which I nearly did, but then just... he was down to his lowest point last week, and so I traded him in last week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got lucky, Tim, so that's good. Cooler's another one, boys. Thoughts on Cooler? Do we still think he's worth trading in? Do we think he holds that fullback spot, or do we not?
I don't know. He's if he does, anyone that's jumped on him when he was 460K or whatever it was last week, it's pretty awesome trading if you did it. Especially with an 83 this week. I mean, the guy's always going to score well. Sorry, it's 434. So
you'll still be around 460 after this week.
Yeah,
so
he only had a 47.
Still be
VE,
cheap.
so.
Still cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. If he holds his spot, and it's really hard because even the comments from the coach, Seabold, after the game still really threw it out there. Whereas it's sort of, my understanding is the comment was something similar along the lines of, well, we're going to play Tommy in the centres and see how he goes to try and build up fitness. It's all going to depend on how Cooler goes at fullback as well. But now that you'd like to think they lost, was it Chuala or whoever it was that came off? No, sorry, Saab got injured in the game this afternoon. So it's an interesting one. If he goes out, does Hopewadi start, and like do they all the pieces just move around again, or what's going to happen?
Oh man, I'd love for Hopewadi to be named in that starting side next week. That would be absolute mint. I just want him for one more game, and then I'm gonna get rid of him. I just want one more rise out of him. That's all. I'm not asking for much.
I think it's inevitable. I think
just give me one more.
I think he will. I think Cooler will go back to centre, and Hopewadi will go to fullback if Saab's out.
So Hopewadi had a break even of 1. They brought him on for like 10 minutes, and he got 8 points.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
You made your
appreciate that. Jeez, far out. Dan, anyone else from this game you like? I mean, Cowboys are obviously. I've sold all my Cowboys about 3 weeks ago because they've still got a couple of buys yet to go. Anyone else you got your eye
on? The position for my backup fullback is still up for grabs, so I'm never going to be closed-minded and just say, "Oh, I'll pick Ponga or I'll pick Latrell." Drinkwater, you'd be stupid to even rule him out of your thought process because he had a pretty good game as well this game, so he's one of the guys I'm looking at very closely. Of course, Val Holmes definitely an option because he's starting to come down. He's had a few pretty rough weeks recently. I think once Origin pressure's off, I think he might start coming home pretty strong, especially with them being around the top 8 there as well. I reckon there's going to be a few teams that are going to fight for that top 8 position, and these guys are going to be one of the ones fighting to stay in, along with the Broncos, unfortunately. But I think you're going to have these big name players like Val Holmes, who are going to step up, and Drinkwater, they're going to step up, and they're going to have to step up to play good. So I think you're going to see some big scores out of them. On the other side with honestly, Olakwadu, you got Garrick as well, which is, if you haven't got him, like he's one of the guys that I want to bring in as well. He's looking pretty good, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can really think about because no one there. Lehigh, I don't have him. I was too scared because on and off, so I don't really look at him that way, and I might miss out.
I didn't get to watch the game, but I was listening to it in the car while I was out doing the shopping and stuff for the wife. Saab's injury, what exactly was it, and how long do they seem to think he might be out for?
I haven't really had any news about his calf. I think it was a calf, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So that's never good when his legs are that long. So it's a big muscle. It's bigger on him, especially with his acceleration and his moving mechanism. So that might be a bit of even if it's a minor calf injury, they'll probably take an extra week than what you'd normally get, I think, because he's just for what he actually does on the field.
He's actually missed a few games already this year with injury too, which is very much a concern. I think he only just came back from like a 5 or 6 week injury as well. Just quickly, just before we move on this game, I think we all agree that Turbo is not a buy as centers, correct?
Not yet.
I reckon he's a good watch.
Yeah,
I've seen I know he tried pretty hard to go both sides in this game. So I'm going to watch this. He's going to have a few quiet games in centre, I reckon, just to get his rhythm back so he doesn't injure himself. Even if he stays at centre, you saw what he did with the Blues. He roamed and went crazy. He could do a very much a Manu style roaming role and be at a decent price in a few weeks. I'd keep an eye on him. Definitely never rule Turbo out.
Yeah. I think if he had got 1 or 2 more games under his belt, he probably would have come in for Latrell. But
especially
from what I'm hearing, he didn't look 100% fit still. So
yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like he was gassed when he got the ball. Yeah, that was what I got out of it. Yeah.
And obviously, last one is Burbo. He's done his job now. I think you guys agree. He's been outstanding for those who have held him. You know, moving him between centre wing and also the back row. But you know, starting to leak a lot of cash now. Do you think he's a sell now, or do you think you wait until after this week, considering they're playing a depleted Knights?
I think you'd hold this week. I think the Knights are nearly going to look like a second-grade team that goes out there with the amount of Origin calls up and injuries and things like that they've got. So, I wouldn't be selling any Manly players for this game.
Did he not get a Category 1?
Oh, wait, he did too, didn't he? He got a HIA or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, then you have to sell him, don't you?
I've got him. If he's not playing this week, I'm still kind of tempted to hold. Only because that round 20 game, everyone always goes, round 13, round 16, round 19.
Yeah,
that
they
round
forget about the buys.
The small buys.
They're harder to manage than those 13, when you need 13 players. So, and he'll play that game. So I think that, and that's why I'm actually nervous about selling people like Strange. I know they're crap, but they're an extra number. That's not a bad number. It's about a 40-point game. He has a big score in him as well. But I'm just a bit nervous about selling anyone. So I think it's the Sharks, the Dragons, and Parramatta who have a buy in that round 20 game. So you've got so there's some big.
I've got like 5 Sharks players and like 1 Dragon, and 1 Parramatta. So that's 7 players going already.
That's what I'm saying. I've looked at I've got 3 Sharks players in my team. I've got I think 2 or 3 Para players already. So that's 5 players. I've got no Dragons, thank God. But that's something to look out for. Be very careful of that round 20 game.
Yeah. Right, that's it for that game. Let's move on to the next game. It was the Roosters just absolutely demolished the Dragons 42-12. Tedesco, far out, boys. I mean, if you don't own him, or you own him and you didn't captain him like me because you're an idiot.
And me.
Well, good luck getting him in because number one, he's about just under $1 million after lockout this week. And number 2, they've got a bye in round 19 and round 23, which is head-to-head finals week 1. I'm going to go to you, Dan and Tim, both of you. Dan, I'll go to you first. If you don't own him, are you bringing him in? Like if you got Latrell and you're looking for another fullback, are you going to him, or are you just going, no, he's going to miss 2 of the next 4 games or whatever it is? It's just got to bite your pride, swallow the pride, and just go to someone else who's got better coverage.
It all depends on how your trade situation is, in my opinion.
And if you head-to-head overall too, right?
Yeah. I don't even know. Like, I think let's say you are overall, he's pumping out big scores the last few weeks, and you want a solid player, I'd look at, if you have enough trades, I would say bring him in. That way, and if you are head-to-head, the amount of players I played in my head-to-head, my leagues, almost all of them have Teddy. So that's the one player, and everyone who didn't have Teddy, chances are they're going to lose. So I think it's one of those ones where it's you can't anti-pot him in the head-to-head situation. But if you've only got if you got less than 10 trades, it's a good luck. Good luck because then you got to more than likely you'll need to trade him out, especially for head-to-head finals. You'll need to trade him out because that first round's crucial. Unless you're top 4, you want to happily throw the first game. No one really is. But I reckon if you had about 14 plus trades, I'd do it.
Well, lucky you've got 16 and you can do it then.
Oh, I've got 14 now. I've made
still a decent number. Far out. I'm pretty sure most of us are on about 10. Some will be on 8. What do you want if you max trade? Is it 8 or is it less?
No, less
if you
than
max
that.
Trade now.
So I just used my final boost, but I've saved 4 trades so far, and I've got 10 left. So
you can have 6.
So
is that right?
6 would be the number if you fully max traded.
Jesus, if you got 6 left and you're playing overall, you're in big trouble.
But I
really
guarantee you there will be.
Yeah, I really thought, I was like, oh, I've only got 14 trades left, so I'm like freaking out. And then Roscoe goes, oh, I got this. And
No,
ask,
14's
ask,
great.
ask a few others, and they're like, yeah, I got this. I'm like, am I looking
Trust
good
me,
here?
man.
Like, I think I am.
I listen to a lot of other pods. I listen to the Playbook podcast and a few other ones as well. And trust me, 14 is a bloody good number to have. It just gives you that flexibility that you could do a 1 or 2 week play trade. Like, you know what I mean? Because you don't have to worry about the trades that you've got left. If you've got 10, you can't be doing that. And the other thing too is that you look at all the
Russian roulette with my fullback.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. There's been that many injuries with fullbacks that everyone's been playing a lot of Russian roulette with the fullbacks as well. But next one I want to talk about, Tyrrell May, boys, far out. We speak about him every week. He put out a 60 odd this week. Obviously got the extra minutes because of the HIA to Radley, but there was a few people who sold him this week. He's pushing 700K. Now, I'd imagine round 20, Collins will probably get a rest again, or may get a rest, or may start off the bench. Man, I tell you what, like we said earlier, May to Haas could be a straight swap in round 21.
Absolutely. You look at his last 5 scores. So what did he get today? A 68 or something?
Yeah.
75 last week. In 17 last week. Yep, 75.
And the last week he scored a try as well.
Yep.
So he's nearly matched that without a try.
The week before that was 110. Admittedly, round 15 was a 27, but he played bugger all minutes. I think he was only out there for about 18 to 20 minutes or something like that for his 27. The week before, 116. So he's had 2 tons and basically 2 70s in the last 5 weeks. So
that 68 points was all in base as well.
I really
That's impressive.
It's just a hunch that I've got, but I really think once we get all this bullshit, Jared Hargraves every week seems to be a milestone game for him. I think once they get that out of the way, it would not surprise me in the slightest if they don't just keep building up May's minutes. Because if he can play 70 minutes every week, and I've got no doubt that he can, he's probably like a Payne Haas can play 80 minutes week in, week out.
Well, he played 80 minutes the other week and got 110. He just
I totally get that, but I reckon it's a sentimental thing at the moment. They're starting JWH. He's been sent off twice in the last 3 weeks or whatever the hell it is, even with these milestone games. So
just on that though, Timmy, I know you guys didn't see the game, but that was a rough,
soft one,
rough fin bin.
I did see that. Yeah,
it was average. I think Klein's got it in for the Roosters, to be honest with you, because there was nothing in it. Like, let's be honest.
That's the hard part with him, though, isn't it? Like you said in our chat group, there was death tackles and bloody JWH copping them in. So it is the hard part. It's the way that he plays, and the referees, like it or lump it, they do target him because they watch him like a hawk. Every tackle that he goes in for, they know he's a big unit who just likes the big, stronger tackles. It's the way that he plays. But yeah, look, I don't know, boys. I'm not sold on selling May. I reckon I'm going to find another way to. Well, like I said before, if I could go Liam Henry to AFB, I think there's a world where I can hold May and AFB as my front row for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Gus with the 88, I've held through, thank goodness. I'm very happy with that. Sammy Walker with the 65, who I've got. I think he'll be my ticket to Cleary in round 20. Leilu with 78, Little with a 70, Tupelotu with a 63, Hunt with a 53, Eisenhuth with a 45. DeBellin I have, and he's done a job for me as a dual, but I think he's a sell for me now.
Yeah, look, he's done all right for you. He's certainly given you like another player with because he's got the dual position as well. So another one that you can flick back and forwards if you need to. He's probably, you'd have to think he's close to maxing out in price now.
Well, he's actually starting to leak cash now too.
Yeah. So look, he's I don't know. I think he could do worse. He's fairly consistent scorer, and he's obviously got a really key role in that team. The one that I've held on to right through Origin is Zach Lomax. He had 120 odd a couple of weeks ago, but
I just saw his score.
Yeah, look, it's really, really bit me in the ass 2 out of the last 3 weeks. So it's 2 out of the last 4 weeks. He had an 81 in round 15, 170 in round 14, but he obviously didn't play 16. It didn't play 16, didn't play 17. So look, it's been a bit tough to hold, and his 25 today just really stings.
They
When he's
didn't play.
priced
They
at nearly
didn't play
800.
well at all, though, Tim. The
No, that's
Dragons
what I mean.
were woeful. They were woeful.
He's priced at 800K or there and thereabouts. So he's probably my ticket to Toto.
Yeah, it's it. 100%.
Although he's one that I'd really like to hold through to the end, especially now that they don't have a bye for the rest of the year. So if Dragons are going to try and squeeze anywhere near the 8, then they really need him to be firing.
Dan, I don't think we need to speak much on the Dragons because there's not really much there to discuss. But as we said, with the Roosters, we've got 2 buys coming up, including the next week's buy. Is there anyone that you could own now that you could probably start getting rid of, like maybe a Dom Young or Sammy Walker, or obviously Sam Walker to Cleary's going to be a popular trade round 20, but is there anyone else other than holding Teddy or Angus that you could potentially start moving on?
Yeah, I think you said it there with Dom Young. I think Dom Young could be definitely a good way to get to that premium centre wing. And as we all know, Dom Young has a big score on him, but he also has a pretty low one on him too. So I'd rather have that consistency towards the end of the year. You did mention, I know that there's nothing in the Dragons really to worry about. One thing I'm looking at the moment for the run home is to have coverage across every, so no bye games left. And the Dragons, we all know there's a struggle to find the right hooker. And Little is popping up and to be a sneaky option. I'm just going to run off some numbers here. So the last, since round 12, 102 in 80 minutes. Against the Penrith, he got 52 in 80 minutes. 69 against West Tigers in 74 minutes. Manly, he got 63 in 80 minutes. 17, he got 90 against the Dolphins. And then this week, he gets another 70. That is premium hooker number. Second highest averaging round current hooker at the moment. When I say highest, I mean 5 round average. He is looking really good.
He's been playing too, which is interesting. Like Little's known for being in and out of the team all the time, but he's basically played every week since the start of the season.
Yeah, since I think it's been in round 9, he played 65 minutes, but ever since then they've at least tried to make him play 80. So he played 80 from 10, 12, 13, and then in 14 he played 74. So I'm guessing there was probably potential injury there. But then he's come back and played 80 every single minute, every single week, and I think. If everyone remembers when Little first started, everyone was feeling sorry for him because he kept getting injured over and over again. But there was so many mad raps on this guy growing, ready to be one of the better hookers coming up. And it's like he's finally got that time to actually shine. And maybe because he's playing for the Dragons, he's not stepping up. But it's looking like in a team this week, he's got to try. Don't get me wrong. He gets 70 points this week. He's got to try against a team that got smashed.
Yeah.
So someone to keep an eye on. At the moment, there's no outstanding hooker right now. Even Harry Grant is the guy that I'm not even really sure I want to own.
I think looking at the draw, Dan, that round 23 would probably be the play, which is your head-to-head finals. But even then, so round 20, they've got to buy. Then they're going to Panthers, Melbourne, Bulldogs, who are all good defensive teams. Don't know if it matters for a hooker, but then you got Titans, Sharks, Para, and Raiders the last 4 games.
Well, just quietly, you mentioned the Bulldogs there, yeah?
Yeah.
He played them in round 12 with 102.
Right. Okay.
So I think with him, he's going to be very similar. The hookers are very similar to what I was explaining Appy earlier on.
Yeah.
He steps up against those big name teams.
Yeah.
So I think, I think he's a sneaky option there, and I think he's going to give you a solid score. Even when he first started the season, he was getting around. He got 1 score at 17 against the Roosters, and that was just, I don't know, an anomaly because every other score was around 50 points.
I think he started the season well, didn't he? Other than
71 points in game 1.
Yeah.
And then he was getting a couple of 59, 63 minutes where he got 37 points and 38 points. And everything above there has been above 40. Yeah. So I think he's got his groove back. I think he might be an option to fill that void that everyone's trying to fill in hooker right now.
There is one I forgot. There is one I forgot for the Dragons, which we speak about just about every week, Jaden Sewer. Now, if the rumours are true that he's been dropped from the Queensland squad, he could be one for the run home. He had a break even of -8, but only scored like 40 points, so he won't go up a lot. He's going to be around about 570K.
Yeah, he's one that I've been
He's
watching
been
for a
scoring
while.
okay too. Like if you look at his numbers, he's been scoring all right.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. He's one that I was really keen on going into the Origin period. I had a bit of a hunch that he was going to get selected. Look, even just going back through his scores, he's fairly consistently 90, 100, high 70s. There's a couple of low scores in there recently, 39 against the Dogs and a 13 against West Tigers.
Yeah, I think it was something. It was an injury or a HIA in that game against
Yeah,
the
that's right.
Tigers. I
So,
Yeah, he
think.
played 39 minutes that game. So.
Yeah.
yeah, so then in 15 he went 83, in 17 98, and then pumped out another. Yeah, not too bad today. So look, he's one that I'm definitely keeping an eye on, hoping he drops a few more bucks, and then a bit of a pod play for the run home. Also,
Yeah.
going back to their draw, how I was talking about Lomax before, they've got 3 tough games coming up, but then that round 23 onwards, once the head-to-head finals start, I think he's going to be a really crucial player for you to have, which is the number one reason why I haven't sold him. I think he's just one of those players that you need to have for those head-to-head finals.
Yeah. All right. I know you guys didn't see the last one. I didn't really either. Who wants to go through the last game?
I've got a few players here. I can have a go.
All right.
So, bit of a resurgence from this guy. Starling, 82 points there. No, he's starting on the field there. So, who knows? Something might come of that. Papali with a try, 78 points. Strange still doing consistent things with 63 points there, which is great work that I held on.
I can't believe you still got him.
Yeah, right.
You've done well to hang on to him, mate. Honestly, like really.
He's got some big scores, mate. Like the last couple of weeks, I got like a 73
consistent.
out of him.
Yeah.
The reason why I like him is because I can go, all right, I got no one in my halfback position now or whatever I can do. It's having that duel is so good to have.
Yeah.
And then we got Tarpany with 60 points, a little bit below par for his standards really. Timoko 59 and Whitehead 53. KO Weeks got a couple of guys had him 49 points, which is a bit below par for him of late too. He's been pretty good lately. For Queensland, Gagai 115, great game from Gagai. I was actually going to go Gagai, but I was scared he was going to get named for Origin, and so I went Marzu instead. Who didn't do too bad, 85 points. Got Kalen Ponga from 69 from a game back. Well done. Not too bad. I was expecting a bit less than that, frankly, because it was just first game back. Will Price, who is going to be my sneaky little trade in next week, 66 points, and Hastings 57, and DSAF with 51 points, and a lot of guys still own him, but KPP 51 points. Bradman Best 46 points. A lot of guys potentially will.
Oh, I nearly went there. Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't pull that trigger, eh?
I was about to as well.
Like obviously, if you had have traded him in this week, you would have reversed it with the news on Latrell. You would have been crazy if you had kept him in your team, especially at that price. But I did notice just quickly, Dan, Will Price, he took a conversion today too.
Yeah, I did see that. I wasn't watching the game, but I was watching the score, and I saw Hastings took a kick.
Yeah.
And then not long after, I saw a conversion from Price. I'm like, okay, something to look out for.
Just some news, boys. Sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but Queensland's side looks like, as we discussed, it's looking like Kurt Capel's going to come into the starting side for Jaden Sewer, with the bench being Harry Grant, Felice Kafusi, Mo Fotuaika, and Kalen Ponga. There's Reed Marnie's 18th man. Also, some other big news, massive news. Tyler Kolu has been ruled out for a month with an MCL injury. So that means Hopewadi most likely gets that fullback spot back, which is, I'm going to say it's great for me because it is, but that's massive news for those because he was highly traded in this week too.
Kolu, wow. MCLs aren't fun either. They're about, even without surgery, they're about 4 to 6 weeks minimum.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for anyone that held, that's played out really well. I think it'll actually work out with a few of those fullback spots this week. It'll actually work out really well. I think with so many of the Knights team picked up in Origin, I think you'll find guys like Armstrong and Fletcher Sharp will get another run. So if you've held on to them, well done.
Yep. All right, we'll just go back to that last game against Dan. I mean, obviously we already spoke about the fact that Knights are going to probably be depleted next week pretty bad. So looking like obviously no Gagai, no Ponga, no Turura, no Bradman Best. They're in a world of beat at the moment. And just going back to Manly, I think Garrick, God, he could do anything this game, even without DCE.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with Olakuatu there. It's going to be really good. Manly are going to have a really good chance of putting a point score on against the Knights, bloody reserve grade Knights side, isn't it?
It might make my trades a bit different. Just that matchup alone, I try to avoid thinking about making my trades for one matchup, but I think it might have to be.
Yeah.
I went KPP to Olakuatu this week, and I was pretty happy with that. Even though there's only about 20 odd points scored between the two of them, I'm glad that I finally cut KPP. Although I didn't get to see the game, like I said, I was listening to it on the radio. It sounded like he was a bit more involved this week than what he has been the last few weeks. Copped a 35 or something. His 30s and 40s is what he's pumped out for the last few weeks. So been pretty disappointed, but probably really happy to finally get that one off my chest. The plan earlier on in the week when I was selling JMK was actually getting rid of Smithies, and unfortunately he pooed the bed again this week with a very boring 32. So he's one that I think I've tried about 6 or 8 times to trade him out, and I just can't seem to find a way to do it.
You've got no excuses this week now, Timmy.
Oh, I've reversed him every week.
You've got 3 trades you can make this week. He needs to go.
Yeah, the problem is, though, he's only 400K, so you got to find someone to trade him to.
Right.
He'll be enough, essentially. I'll bank 200K, bring in like a second row forward, hooker enough or something like that, someone that I can move around.
Yeah, obviously the other one was Greg Marzu, boys. I know he was very highly traded in. I'm very happy I bought him in, but he was limping towards the end of that game too. So another one to keep an eye on as well. Could you imagine if he's out too? That's their whole back line gone, the whole lot from 1 to 5.
Yeah, that's massive, isn't it? That
would annoy the hell out of me with I lost Burbo today, but next week I've held that buy around, and then I just brought in Mazu this week.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Did a lot brought him in this week? Yeah, he was very highly traded in. I think with 21,000 traded him in.
Yeah, with Fifi in the team, I've got 12 players for next week, and that's without. If Mazu's there, that's great. If he's not, then I have back to 11 players again. I had 14 players about probably 24 hours ago.
I'm just praying that Hopewadi plays this week, because with that backline that decimated, man, far out, that could be anything as well. My God. Guys, anyone else? Are we looking at, obviously we've spoken a little bit about what we think we might be doing this week. Any open doors on early trades for this week at all, on what you guys might be doing?
It will be team dependent, but I could see a world if Hopewadi is going to pick up that fullback spot for the next 4 weeks, then I could see a world of trading down to him, or a sideways trade or whatever. Even like AJ, I know he plays this week, but the guy's just not getting the ball. So I could do a sideways trade of AJ to Hopewadi and see.
I hope you got the jewels to do that trade, because he's only named at fullback.
Yeah, I've got Eero sitting down in my fullback spot at the moment. So I think half of my centre wings are also fullbacks. So that's going to give me a little bit of versatility.
Dan?
Yeah, I think I'm sold on doing the price trade. I think that helps me. It banks me another 100K, and then I could look at moving Smithies to Olakuatu, and then I'll probably make my third trade as well, having that luxury of extra trades. More than likely, I'm trying to think, because I've got a few players there that I could potentially hold in the centre wing position. So it might need to be potentially Burbo out and go to Garrick.
Which would make sense if Burbo's not playing, right? Really?
Yeah, but the only reason I didn't like that is because that's an extra number for that round 20 game. But in saying that, it's definitely all upgrades. I'd say strange to price-wise, it's a downgrade, but I reckon you can get the same, if not similar, output.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that one.
I think for me, I was just going to say.
Sorry, mate. I brought in.
I was just going to say for me.
Oh, would you go then?
I was just going to say, Now, if Hopperwhite's named this week, I probably won't trade because that'll give me 14. So I think I'll just because as I said, I really want to get Olakuatu, but I don't have anyone to trade out to. If I had the jewels to go and move someone to my front row forward, I'd probably go Jack DeBellin to him. But the fact is, I don't have the jewels, so I can't actually do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, look, no, I don't hate that at all. I was trying to say before, I brought Price in for into our draft league this week as a bit of a plug play. Just with the dual flexibility, it's pretty handy to have him there. But I was looking for someone, and there was only 3 or 4 games left or something like that. So, yeah, brought him in and I'm pretty happy with that. Actually scored better than I thought he did.
Yeah. All right. Lastly, thanks to our sponsors, Bluebet, once again. Thank you guys for jumping on board. Unfortunately, our multi was a bit of a flop this week. I think we only got about 2 of the 6 legs up, which was, I don't think, Dom Young, which you picked, Timmy, and my leg got up as well. I picked, I think it was Blaze Talangi. So thanks again for Bluebet for donating the bonus bets every week. And hopefully we can get another multi soon and make another donation to a charity of our choice. So, like to get maybe 1 or 2 more before the season's out. If you guys are interested in joining up with Bluebet, do send me a private message and I'll get you guys sorted out with some freebies or something anyway with them. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Anything else from you guys? Anything else you wanted to quickly talk about before we finish up?
No, I think it's just going to be a massive fluctuation in the scores this week. There's some low ones and there's some high ones. So it really is going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm low 1300s, 1330 or something like that. I am sitting in about 13,000th spot, but I think I'll probably stay pretty flat. I seem to be. There's some above me that didn't score anywhere near as well, and some below that have really kicked on through. So it's going to be interesting to see where that 1330 comes out.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say one more thing. I've got a lot of respect for Cam Smith, but I'm just reading an article now where he seems to think that the Cowboys are dark horses to win the premiership. Maybe taking too many head knocks. Maybe Cam Smith, I think. Sorry.
The thing that got me most interested in last night's game was like Drinkwater nailed that field goal from 43 metres out. And then in extra time, they had 5 shots and he didn't get one. Like didn't get an opportunity. So they went to Val 3 times and was it Chad who took the other one? So it seemed crazy that the guy that can nail him from anywhere on the park, you don't give him the opportunity. And it was interesting when watching the post-match interview, they said, we basically said we kept going to Val because that's what we've been practicing. You went, well, it's like you got Drink. There's plenty of guys in that squad that can kick a field goal, especially when some of them were closer, like bloody 15 metres out, 20 metres out, things like that. And you're just going, surely that's bread and butter for someone who can kick a ball, especially for the bloke who just kicked it from 50.
Yeah. Anything else, Dan, while we've got you on, Dan? I appreciate you coming on. You got anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, good guys. Thanks for having me on. Always happy to be part. So, whenever you need me again, just give us a buzz.
Mate, we'll have you on anytime. Don't worry about that.
We missed the Tragics pod, mate. Obviously, Roscoe and I spent a fair bit of time on there over the last couple of years. It's always good to be a part of. It's a shame that you guys have don't have the time at the moment to be pumping them out on a week-to-week basis, but it's always really good quality with yourself and Glenn and the guests that you do get on, which is generally Ross and I.
and then we have 3 people that goes for a 2-hour podcast, but anyway, that's another story. Just a quick shout out to our Off the Bench League. I think we had about 15 people score over 1,500 this week, which is massive. Obviously, that's pre-updates. We had a 1573 from Sean. We had 1572 from Jazzy from the 360 pod and a 1571. So some massive scores there. So maybe after update, someone could crack that 1600. We'll find out later on tonight. So
I'm sure there's one out there.
Yeah.
Sure there will be.
So Timmy, thanks again for jumping on.
Absolutely, mate.
And that's it for round 18. We'll see you guys on Tuesday, Arvo, for the round 19 TLT podcast. Until then, have a good week and good luck.
Stay safe. Be good.
See ya.
Yeah. Mm.